Awesome. Baseball today, we're gonna basically open the movie with what we shoot today. Stick around today, we're gonna have a lot of fun.
Be more.
Sinister with Scott Derrickson. That was my first foray into the horror genre, and I loved working with him on it. The joy of this movie was to get the band back together and just make an old-fashioned scary movie.
Scott, about a decade ago, after we had written Sinister, brought me Joe Hill's The Black Phone. And then fast forward years later, he pitches to me the idea of doing a film about his childhood, about the resiliency of youth and growing up in the 70s in North Denver. We were like, oh, what if we took this concept of your childhood and put it onto The Black Phone? I reached out to Joe and said, what would you think about us doing it? And he was like, absolutely, let's go. And so Joe got on board and we wrote it in about 5 weeks.
Well, isn't that just peachy keen?
Need some help?
I was really excited when I read the script. I really liked the brother and sister dynamic and was drawn to Gwen's character especially. But I like the transformative nature of the story and as well as the supernatural horror elements.
Hello?
Joe's inspiration for The Black Phone came from John Wayne Gacy, which was also a big story in the 70s. This film is entirely about that era and about what it was like growing up with these mythical killers, with these catchy names that sold newspapers.
Even the papers call him the grabber.
Just which one's his name?
When I was growing up, there was a lot of cases you'd hear about somebody abducting kids, and there'd be signs up there on the back of milk boxes, and it would be kind of terrifying. This movie felt really special to me because a lot of scary movies don't have the same kind of heart that this one possesses.
I'm really sorry, Finny. I know he was your friend.
It's predominantly children.
Yeah, all the kids.
With most horror films, you see all adults. We're kids, and we're fighting this murderer, psychopath kind of guy.
70s, so...
Yeah, that's true. One thing I like about horror is definitely being in it, to see how things are done. You get to see the whole art part of it.
Hey, Mark.
Being a period piece that takes place in the 70s really informs the whole visual style. A lot of that for me is looking at references for the period in terms of lighting and in terms of color and to get a sense of a 70s look. The art department did a great job giving us a lot of texture, and we're using anamorphic lenses that have a kind of softer, more vintage quality to them to give it that period feel.
I love a good 70s movie because that's the period of movies that I was watching that I fell in love with movies. So the cars and the costumes, all to me, just light my imagination on fire. It's part of what makes the movie so haunting.
Hey guys, welcome back to the adventures of Brady Hepner on The Black Phone. I'm here with Zach right now. Zach, give him an epic dab.
What's up, bro?
Yeah, exactly. So right now, we're going to lunch, so we'll catch you guys later.
Oh my gosh, kids give you so much life. It just give me in touch with my youth, so I love it.
All the young people Scott casts are just terrific in the movie. A lot of young people are really good actors because their imaginations are really wild. So the set became a fun place to be because they were so into it.
And action.
The relationship between Finny and Gwen is really important to how this story works.
Fucking cock-sucking cowards!
I knew we had to create a sister character and wrote a character that I've wanted to write for a long time. The strong little sister, but not the precocious little sister. I didn't want her to be smarter than her own age. And so here's this 9-year-old girl trying to understand her psychic powers. And her brother leans on her as much as she leans on him as the older brother. And I loved that idea of that character.
Gwen is very, very tough. I feel like she's really powerful, and she loves her brother Finny. She doesn't want anything bad to happen to him.
Madeleine McGraw, Gwen, did an amazing performance in the kitchen scene when she was getting beaten.
I'm sorry! someone who's actually starting to get emotional when he was watching it, and it actually helped me get really emotional because he was like really, really in the moment, and so was I.
Finney's like the outcast. He gets picked on a lot.
Coming out, dickweed.
Not fooling anyone, Noid.
Mason brings a natural innocence to the role. He really is a strong kid. He's a resilient kid, and he really makes Finney who he is.
Mason, perfect. So we're gonna do one more for safety and move on.
The line between laughing hysterically and being scared out of your mind is right up next to each other, you know? And Mason just was so playful and so easy to be with. Of course, it was hard for me because my character is always trying to do something horrible to this poor young man. So I had to be careful that he always understood the sense of fun that we were having. Catch the balloons!
Okay.
Yeah, I'm good.
The Shadow Kids are kids that were killed by the grabber.
Yes. So each of us have our own story about being abducted by this guy and basically murdered very brutally.
Who are you? I don't remember.
We very much wanted to make sure the Ghost Kids weren't just faceless, nameless victims, and we wanted each one to have their own personality.
My character, Bruce, he's the popular, cool guy. Everybody loves him.
Hi, Bruce.
And then one day, he somehow gets kidnapped.
Robin, he's a fighter. He's kind of like Finney's guardian angel. Anytime Finney's in trouble, he's always there to save the day for him.
I'm with you. I've been with you this whole time.
My character's the paperboy Billy. My story is I was wrapping papers, getting ready to go deliver in my neighborhood, and the grabber kidnaps me and puts me in his van.
Griffin, he's just a shy kid. He's just a little bit more scarier, and I think that's because he never really had any friends or anything.
I didn't know you.
Nobody did.
Vance is basically a sociopath. If you mess with him, he's definitely gonna at least stab you with a knife. They think that when the grabber took him, he tried to fight back. Today's the day, motherfucker!
So here we are in the basement, and we're working out the choreography here. We've got Mason throwing some punches with the foam. It's loaded with dirt. Let me hear some noise. Phone rings.
It's for you.
Welcome to the nightmare end of your pathetic little life.
Final pull. And cut. Cut. Nice. Little energy. That was great. Huh? Look at this guy.
The stunts are some of my favorites. My background in ballet has given me an edge to the stunts. I can run faster. I'm more flexible.
I just have a blast working with kids. They come in wanting to do their own stunts. That's the craziest thing. They want to step up, and I get it. And what you'll see, it's mostly the kids. Good job. That's a wrap. Let's go eat.
I like making movies with people who are excited to make movies. It's a collective imagination. Scott's communicating to all of us exactly what our job is, and that's being a good filmmaker.
That was spot on. That's it. That's
Working with Scott's been great. He's very collaborative, creative, and we really found ourselves kind of on the same page about how we wanted to approach the film.
I think this is what we want to do.
Scott has been unbelievable. He really talks about the character with you. That's what really helped me learn about Gwen.
You're screaming it out because you are so irate.
Scott has a very singular mind when he's shooting, and he has a very visual understanding of storytelling.
You got momentum this way, and he skirts that way.
Scott really pays attention to every detail to create these atmospheric spaces.
Okay, good. Let's do one more.
I love seeing a director's vision and talking with the art department and costumes and makeup and how we can all come together to make these lives exist. At the end of the day, it's telling stories about people in an authentic way.
With The Black Phone, we're talking about the resiliency of youth. We're talking about childhood while also offering a really good, fun time. It's why we love storytelling. We want to see people we care about go through the toughest things imaginable and come out on the other side better people as a result.
One of the things that I love about a good scary movie is when you tap into the mystery of our lives. There's just certain elements of our life that we just don't understand and are never going to understand. I find that really exciting. I always find scary movies when they're set in a period more exciting because your imagination has to go somewhere. It's so fun to see a world without cell phones and without computers.
The whole meaning of production design is to create an atmosphere in which the events take place. And then another aspect is to create a specific kind of understanding of the characters.
Patty Podesta was our art director, and she made this entire world feel lived in, and as a result, it really kind of nailed home what it was like growing up in the 70s.
The 70s in Denver. Scott lived there as a boy, and a lot of the particularities of the set design and the story come from his memories of it.
I'm actually wearing my authentic 70s ditto pants today. 70s is kind of like my vibe anyways, and so for me, it's just kind of like living my dream costume world.
The clothes are really cool. I like the jeans because it makes me feel taller. The 1970s, it's just a cooler time.
You had to have lots of fabulous hair.
70s hairstyles, especially like we're in 78, so it's more fluffy, it's more lived in. It's not that kind of like stringy, grimy, like 60s kind of feeling. And we have such great characters that we can develop such great hairstyles around. Like with Gwen, we really focus on braids that she can do herself.
You don't think they're gonna find them, do you?
Not how they want to.
Finney's got a nice little shag moment going on. So it's a lot of fun shapes and textures that we're seeing.
I would describe the overall aesthetic of the film as kind of a heightened naturalism. So it's grounded, but we pick moments to kind of elevate. You know, I wouldn't say it's hyper stylized, but we definitely try to give it an edge to create, you know, kind of a dynamic visual experience.
When I first got the script, there weren't that many makeup effects in it. Scott, our director, changed his mind and decided all the ghost kids were going to be practical makeup effects. Everybody was really, really excited about it. The kids loved it. We were told multiple times that we're their favorite department to work with just because they got to, you know, play Halloween every day.
Welcome to the basement. This is one of the main sets of the film where all of the horrific things happen. Meant to be a metaphysical space, an expressionistic space where terror is present constantly. We came up with this idea of the rusty horizon that is, in a certain sense, a metaphor for the rip in the universe.
When I first saw it, I was like, I'm excited to be kidnapped by Ethan Hawke in this basement. It was really cool though, like the lights that kind of look like those lights on battleships with like the metal cage around it, which is really creepy, and like the walls have like grimy stuff all over them. It's super creepy. I'll scream. If someone's upstairs, they'll hear me.
No, he won't. Not with the door shut.
And this is the black phone of the black phone.
The black phone is awesome. I love this prop. We have about 3 of those. It's a period from the 70s. It's a pretty standard, like, black phone of that time. We currently have it hooked up to a system. It's called a Viking system. So the actor can make it ring and talk to Mason.
You said my name was Billy. Don't call me that. I don't remember it.
We hooked it up so that when we pick up this phone on the outside of the set, the black phone inside will ring.
Scott hired this amazing artist to do the masks, and it ended up being a large part of what I do in the movie. I'd kind of read it imagining the mask to be singular, and Scott devised this plan where sometimes it's this half is covered, sometimes it's this half, sometimes there's no mouth, sometimes there's no eyes. So the mask itself is working in this strange symbolic universe.
This was the very first prototype we did. We did the smile first.
The purpose of the expressions, like the frown, is when that's it, the kids are doomed, and this is to enchant them. They had to have horns. This is kind of like an outward sign of devil, evil, you know, that's the first thing you think of, you know.
The mask was the coolest thing I've ever seen. Like, he'd look up to the darkness where the light was, and it was so creepy. That thing was so cool.
And once I saw the masks, I realized that the masks were gonna do a lot of the work for me, and I had to really let the masks carry the weight.
You don't have to be scared, because nothing bad is going to happen here.
The joy of doing a scary movie is I always like to picture a group of friends going to a movie theater at midnight at Halloween, or people having a sleepover party, and it's your job, like you're sitting around a campfire, your job to tell a scary story. Hey, everybody, gather around. I'm gonna tell you about the Grabber.
Creepiest damn thing.
The Grabber is kind of a monolith in the film. We're not entirely sure who he is, where he comes from, why he's doing what he's doing.
The Grabber is a failed magician, I imagine. And, you know, he's the kind of clown of sorts, an evil clown. Would you like to see a magic trick?
Yeah.
And, you know, like a lot of clowns, there's a darkness there.
You say one fucking word, and I will gut you like a pig.
I like playing flawed characters and people who aren't likable and things like that's always drawn to me, but whenever you're overtly evil, people believe you are spawn of Satan, and you can't say, no, I'm secretly really nice, and I'm at the chess club. You're like, no, you're not. No, I know who you really are. It's a no-win scenario for the performer, but the good news is I'm 51 now, and so it might be the time for me to go to the dark side. Look what you made me do. I was really excited about the idea of playing a character in a mask. It seemed like some strange, abstract Greek theater piece, and the character became something I'd never done before.
Ethan is the Grabber's terrifying. Like, when I first saw the mask, I kind of froze. And then, like, almost after every take, Ethan's like, you all right, buddy?
Ethan was really excited, and one of the things that really excited him was the fact that he was going to be masked almost the entire time and wasn't going to be able to use facial expressions to drive that character, so he had to act with his voice.
I just wanted to look at you. No one can hear anything down here. I soundproofed it myself. I'm gonna go see who it is. Then I'll get you a soda, and then I'll come back and explain everything.
Ethan is bringing to the part something deeply unstable and unnerving.
Ethan's just terrifying. It's just really cool.
It's very hard to play that kind of darkness or malevolency, whatever the right word is, because it's impossible to justify.
Ethan comes in going, I'm going to take this character I love on the page and I'm going to make it better through my performance. And he does.
We're hardwired to read people's moods and what they're trying to communicate by their face. When somebody covers their face, your brain immediately studies their body language and gestures and their energy differently. And so that was really fun for me to figure out, like, how does he stand? How does he move? What's the quality of the voice?
I was really starting to like you, Finny.
It's a different game.
I almost let you go.
It's actually a fascinating thing to think about. Somebody who doesn't want to be seen so much, they must really hate themselves. And so it was fun for me to devise what this person is hiding from. How did they become this damaged? You know, it's always the people who've been tortured that torture others.
I want this to really hurt.
Ethan's just an incredible talent, and I love that he gave this a chance, and I hope to see more villainous portrayals out of him because he's really good at it.